Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And folks, we are a little light on panel members. We had a lot going on today. Boxenberger, big shout out to his wife. It is her birthday, so he is celebrating with her. Obviously, we'll get him back here the following week. We had Danny have a family emergency, and hopefully everything is going to be okay. And we're keeping our eyes and ears pinned on the happenings of that. Of course, family first, especially on this podcast. And we are hoping that everything does, in fact, work out in the end. We are going to have Mr. Badbit joining us in a little bit. Obviously, he's in a meeting right now, and then hopefully N64 Josh should be back as well. He has a meeting that he's going to be coming from soon enough. So for right now, folks, we have our good brother Infinite Umbra, who did a 5-hour like a Spaces. I think it was maybe even more than that. But he had 500 people, including Paris Lily, run through. First of all, congratulations on that, Infinite. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling good, Boom. Good morning to you. Good morning to Retri, and of course to the chat. Yeah, man, it was actually really good. It was almost 6 hours, literally 5 hours and 50 minutes. And yeah, apparently people were telling me other big people were there. I didn't know them, but I couldn't quite see them the way the space is set up. So you couldn't quite see them. But I mean, Paris, I've had him come through before. You know, it was just a really, really good discussion. And I think something that needed to happen. And I kind of pride myself on having those types of discussions with the community because I value everybody's opinions on that. But I was still just upset with the lack of Xbox, not the no show for that VGAs. I had to talk about that. The market.
But you know what? To your point, you're not wrong for saying that. You're not wrong for suggesting it. There were a lot of folks in the Xbox community, including myself, that were disappointed with the no show. Obviously, the Game Awards are something that has become what many consider a phenomenon. It is viewed by millions and millions and millions of people each and every year.
It was 85 million last year.
Yeah, 85 million people put eyes onto this thing. So obviously, when you show off a new game for your exclusive IP on your platform, people are going to take notice. Now, obviously, we've seen a lot of people respond. Dealer put something out there. Fonz Gaming put something out there. A lot of people in the community did have a lot to say. Now, obviously, this isn't throwing smoke at Microsoft. This is, as fans, expressing our disappointment.
Yeah,
and I think that
we're passionate about it.
Yeah,
we are.
Complain. Yeah, I think if you keep telling them that everything is okay, they're going to think everything is okay. And I think as there are ways to go about expressing your disappointment. Now, some people use the hate mongering, which is something that we don't do on this podcast. But the way that you did it was classy. It was efficient, and you had a lot of people come through for a good reason. But listen, it's great to have you back, brother.
So yeah, happy to be here always. Yeah, ready to chop it up with you guys. And I mean, we're gonna have to pull out the stops here with us three being here to start it off. But I think we're equipped for it.
Yeah, you know what? I've been told by many people, including Boxenberg, sometimes these smaller podcasts do reveal big opinions because obviously we are limited as to the people that we have here. And again, it's simply just schematics at this point. Mav has got stuck at work. Pong is working back in the office. So, we will eventually get a full roster, but we have officially added someone. Retri, congratulations, brother. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you a part of this show each and every week. Welcome,
Thank you. Thank you all for having me. Thank you for inviting me to the Double Barrel Gaming family. I've been lurking for years, so it's a little weird to be on here with you guys, like as an actual panel member, but I'm here and I'm ready to talk games. I love talking games. It's what I do on my own channel. So I am ready to get in the mix and be my honest self.
Well, you know what? It's great to have you here, and a part of the show each and every week, because you've been on a couple of shows. I think 4 or 5 shows in the last couple of weeks, and you've completely knocked it out of the park. So I thought about it. I said, considering that we are sometimes, struggling to get people on because of real life, it would be great to not only invite you but have a new voice to be a part of the panel. But I do want to open up the show with a game, folks. High on Life released, was supposed to release today, but it released early yesterday. And while watching some Christmas films with Mrs. Boom on the couch, I was sitting there on my Logitech G Cloud playing High on Life. And I got to tell you, it's what you would expect from that director who is known for Rick and Morty. Obviously, Rick and Morty is sometimes a little risque, if you will, of the
Sometimes, yeah.
commentary that is brought about. And this game delivers on that. The writing seems to be on par. The fact that the weapons are live and real and talking to you. Like, my wife was watching me playing. She says, "Did that gun just blink?" And I said, "Yes, it's alive." She goes, "I'm going to be honest with you. It's a bit creepy." And she's not wrong.
It is creepy.
I just found Stabby, which is the knife that is basically a serial killer in your hand and wants to murder everyone in front of him. What is funny about this game and why it's an adult game is that it literally prompts you to stab the dealer. It says, press RB to stab the dealer that just sold you this thing. It is funny. It is a lot of fun. I'm quite enjoying it. The graphics are next generation. I think that it is like artwork on the screen in motion. Squanish Games, who is the developer of this, did a really good job. Again, this is an Xbox exclusive. It is on PC, of course, but it is an Xbox Series X and S exclusive. It's one of the few exclusives that the Xbox had this year, thanks to delays and such. Infinite, we'll get your opinion momentarily because you haven't had a chance to play, but we will find out if you intend to play it. But Retri, you have played it. What are your thoughts on this?
Yep. So I got a chance to play it late last night after editing some videos, and I got probably an hour and a half, maybe. It's very funny, and it's funny right off the rip. I mean, just from the fake tutorial, I guess you would call it. It's basically him playing a video game, kind of. That part was really funny. There was a character in there that was basically the divorce lawyer, his divorce lawyers. He kept saying, I'm your divorce lawyer. Go kill the ex-boyfriends, blah, blah, blah. And it was, I don't know. That whole part was really funny. Even that little game inside a game was fun. So far the humor is great. It's very Justin Roiland, very much Rick and Morty on screen in video game form. So the humor definitely hits, and it hits for someone like me because I like that raunchy stuff, I guess. But I did have some issues with the game. I don't know if anyone else ran into this, but I had complete sections of dialogue just completely mute.
No, I have not seen that.
Did you not have that?
No.
So you were playing through the Logitech. By the way, they should be sponsoring this podcast because you've been talking about it a lot lately.
I wish, but maybe when the channel's a bit bigger, we'll see.
Right. Yeah, I was, it's a dialogue game, and I want to listen to all the jokes and stuff, and entire people's conversations would just start going and then just gone. And I would find when I would move my character around and kind of like almost like changing where my headset would hear it, it would actually like switch ears and stuff. So I'm not too sure what's going on with that. I don't know if it was my headset or the Series X itself, if that version has some issues, but I also had some frame rate issues as well. So I'm probably going to go to PC to see if it's a little smoother, but some of the conversations, like there was these trash looking guys that are asking you which one you would take on a date, which one was hotter. I mean, this game is hella funny.
Yeah.
So right now the gameplay mechanics are pretty good. They're pretty solid. The gun is funny and knifey or stabby. I can't remember what his name was. Is hilarious.
I think it is Stabby.
Is it Stabby? Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
I love that character. Yeah. So far, so good. I haven't got too far into it, but I think I'm going to end up enjoying it when I play it.
Yeah,
later today.
it's one of those games that if you are a fan of Rick and Morty, I think you're going to really enjoy the game. If you don't get that type of humor, it might hit you wrong, and you're like, yeah, this is just not for me. I will say that graphically, it is gorgeous to look at. The color palettes,
the color
that are on display is it really does pop on the screen. Like I said, I took a picture while I was playing on the Logitech. And even from the picture, as someone that just took it, I was actually quite shocked on how good it looked. But it is a game that I'm definitely going to play through. And I will say my biggest problem with games right now is there's just too many of them.
Yeah.
As you can see, I have the 2+ hours worth of footage for Requiem. Which is Plague's Tale 2. It is a phenomenal game. If you appreciate story-driven, graphically intense games, this is definitely something you should be playing. My biggest problem with games right now is that there's honestly just too many of them. I'm literally playing like 6 or 7 games at the same time, and I hate it. I like playing
I'm doing the same
game.
Thing, Boom.
Getting through the game, beating the game, putting it down. If it's a game that I really am enthralled with, like the Evil West, for instance, I'll run through it again to get to mop up the achievements that I missed. But this is another game. It's another Xbox exclusive. They didn't have many this year, but I gotta tell you, this is a big one. This one comes at the time where normally December doesn't have any games. So this is it's a bit shocking to have a game this good. I don't know what the reviews were. I think Umber, you
high
had
70s, I think.
like high 70s or below 80s.
There was some weird website. I'm sure the chat knows what it is, but completely just slam this game hard.
3 out of 10, right? Yeah.
It was a weird name too, and it looked like it was a trolling website that just destroyed the score. So, there was that, but it's getting decent reviews. It's awesome to have in Game Pass. So
yeah, it's just another one, just another reason why Game Pass is the superior, service that's currently available. And talk about saving money. I've saved more money this year in Game Pass than I think I've ever saved when it comes to big time games.
Absolutely.
You look what's on your screen right now. This is a $60 title that was in Game Pass for my $15 a month subscription, and being this is a Sobo, it's probably going to stay here forever. It's one of those games that are going to be in Game Pass forever. So if you don't play it now, you'll be able to get to it at some point. But I see a lot of people in the chat, and I will get to you. But Steel Rain is here. Steel, listen, brother, if you are available and you want to jump in, just go and click the link I put in the DM and join us, because we are short a couple of guests, but we have some big time topics, and one basically took the world by storm yesterday. We're going to get into that momentarily, but Umbra, what are your thoughts on what you've seen so far in High on Life?
From what I've seen, I love the colorful world. From what I've seen a bunch of clips online, people sharing it. And it was one part dead at the beginning after you do the tutorial, which I just played, by the way, while Retry was talking and listening. And because it starts you off in this video game, old school Doom-esque kind of world and all that. And you realize you're actually playing a game within the game. So gameception. And apparently this is his sister here, and you all know what I'm talking about. And she's like, "You want it?" Yeah, I'm like, now that
pretty shocking that the game opens up with that.
And I first saw it actually online yesterday, so I was like, "Oh wow, that would explain the whole title." Now I get it. So I expected that type of humor. I mean, that guy, he goes all in when it comes to that. If anybody has watched his shows, they know that's how it is on Rick and Morty. So I expect to actually enjoy it. I've heard from people that the humor is hit or miss. So not everything lands, but some of it really does land when it lands. So I'm all for that. I'm going to get into it after the show for sure. I wish I could have got into it yesterday, but again, that space took up so much time, and by the time I went to sleep, I woke up, it was time to work. So, but I'm actually encouraged by the reviews too, and I know a lot of people, get annoyed when sometimes when you mention the reviews. Oh, you look at reviews. I don't use them as a barometer for me to play a game, but it is nice to see a game that I want to play or that I did enjoy score well. You know what I mean? That's just how I see things. So, like for instance, The Witcher 3 Complete Edition has now a 97 meta, and that is a masterpiece to me. I love that game. It's probably on my Mount Rushmore. So seeing that score so well like that absolutely makes me feel good. Just because I believe that game truly deserves it. So that's the way I look at it. But yeah, I'm actually really excited to jump into this after this and get to explore the world. Let me ask you something, Boom. When you played it on the mobile like that, how did it play through that?
Dude, it played like I was playing on my console.
Nice.
Like I had zero issues, no lag.
Starting to think it was me, because a lot of people in chat were saying they didn't have any issues on the Series X. So I hope nothing's going on with my Series X, but I don't know. I'll be updating on my channel.
I played this morning for about an hour on the X. I played last night for about an hour and a half on the G Cloud, and I had no connection issues. I wasn't streaming from the Series X. I literally was playing on xCloud. And it ran no problems. Sound was great, nothing cut out. Graphics, like I said, if you go to my Twitter, you see that that picture isn't imposed or fixed in any way. That's the screen that you see. So pretty great thing to be able to, because it's funny, I didn't know that it was going to be a part of cloud. So I figured, you know what, let me take a chance, because normally I'm playing Vampire Survivors while I'm watching a movie with Mrs. Boom. Like she's on one couch, I'm on the other. I'm playing, because Vampire Survivors is just literally one thumb. You know what I'm saying? That you're not even pressing any buttons. You're just literally moving the character around. So it's super easy. It looks great, runs great.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me see. I don't think this is going to be cloud day one. And sure enough, it was on cloud the day, even like I said, it was supposed to release technically today, and it didn't. It actually released early.
Yeah,
and I was like
9 p.m. maybe. It was very early.
Yeah, you know what? Real quick, a shout out to Wario64. He was posting some sales yesterday, and I know we talked about it specifically because Steel Rain is here. The Darkness 1 and 2. The first one is $4. The second one is $6 right now on Xbox. As part of the Xbox Live Gold, I bought them both because they're both backwards compatible.
Nice.
So hey, first of all, Steel Rain, what's up?
Yeah.
Man? Thanks so much for joining us. How you doing?
What's going on, Boom? Man, I was on the way home, but I was tuning it in. I was like, man, Boom seems a little shorter than usual. So I wanted to slide through the DMs, just see if you had a spot open or if you just
hell yeah, dude. Well, you don't even got to ask. You just show up. You got the front door key.
Well, hey, sometimes people want to have a little bit of a shorter show when you got a lot of opinions, like you mentioned earlier. You get a lot of thoughts out, but I see you guys were talking about High on Life, man.
Yeah, so let's get your opinion on this, brother. This is an Xbox exclusive. It's supposed to release today. Released a couple of hours early. I don't know if anyone is familiar, but Ben Kenobi, the fantastic artist that has been working with Double Barrel Gaming, did all of the artwork, folks, for the countdown for this game. If you didn't know that,
nice.
that was Ben Kenobi.
That's
and
fire.
You know who used it? Aaron Greenberg used the countdown. And this is why we love Aaron. And this is what we're going to get into what Aaron had to say to quell the fans who are concerned about 2023. Folks, he has been on the horn talking about that and how we do not have to worry that 2023 is going to not only be incredible of what we know, there's a lot of stuff that we don't. No, but talk about it, Steel. What are your thoughts on High on Life?
Well, Boom, High on Life, this is a game that definitely piqued my interest when I first saw the trailer. But it wasn't a game that I necessarily was going to invest in if I had to pay for it, right? I can be completely honest and say that. These isn't typically my style of game, even though It has, because I got about over 2 hours in it currently.
Nice.
I've been playing it all morning, and I've been having actually a pretty good time with it. Now I'll come from the perspective because personally, I don't find Rick and Morty to be the funniest. I find a lot of their content to be kind of cringeworthy more than anything else to me personally, but it could be just a cultural thing for me. It's the same way I don't find South Park to be the funniest, but I am a Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad fan. So I guess it just depends on what you're really into. But with that taken into consideration from the jump, when you start this game, like the guys have mentioned, it's very mature, right? This isn't for your kids. Make sure that they're not watching from Jump Street. And just the violence and the way that they introduce you to the world, the guns, the alien-esque-ness of it, is really dope, man. I wasn't expecting to like this game at all. I had no expectation, and I find myself extremely interested in the world, the gun and the knife talking to me. Their commentary, I haven't turned down yet. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, you know, they talk too much. I don't know, guys. Within the first couple of hours, it's really not that bad. In taking things into consideration, not compared to like something like Gotham Knights or something like that, where they say some really weird superhero stuff sometimes, or it's just like, I don't know about that. But in the line with that, the game runs smooth. I am playing on PC, so keep that in mind. So that could have a huge effect. I know people were saying that the performance, and my brother from another Pong was like, man, the frame drops are extremely noticeable, goes from 60 to 30. I'm not getting any of that on my end. But
I wasn't the only one.
I saw some other people kind of hint to that as well.
And I wanted to mention, because you brought up the sound thing, Richard, because I wanted to, because you're not alone in that. There was some certain sections where one, it started off with the person with the alien was talking, but his lips weren't moving. So it started off
was that inside the house? Do you remember?
No, that wasn't inside of a house. It was in the next section. But their lips wasn't moving when they were talking. And then the next person I talked to, there was no audio, but their lips was moving. So I was like, okay, well, but it went away after that. I never noticed it after that. It was really early on. That had to been towards my last hour or so. Other than that, there is some optimization things to be said here. It does drop when you go into certain areas and things like that. But other than that, it's nothing terrible. It's nothing really earth shaking. But hopefully they do update it on Xbox, since I can only speak on the PC side of things. I'm also playing on the hardest difficulty, so maybe that has some effect on the way that I'm enjoying it. I will say this up front. To me personally, I don't feel the game is very difficult. But that's just me. I know everybody's going to have their own thing to it. I would recommend at least trying it, since it does give you the option. This is one of those games to where you can kind of go up and down in the difficulty whenever you want. I haven't had to do that just yet. I got through one main area where we had to fight a bunch of different aliens, and the moving and everything, it feels very fluid, man, for it not to be a first-person shooter, quote unquote. I think it does. I think it presents everything very well. The world, the action. It's not as simple as a lot of people try to make it seem. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. I'm just shocked at how good it is. The world we live in today with double A's, like, it's kind of almost blowing my mind that this is now the double A almost standard. Like, it's kind of crazy.
This is what you can expect now, right?
Yeah.
And it's other little, again, if you're expecting the world out of this just because Xbox hasn't had any first party games this year, you're going to be very upset, because this isn't that. But if you take it for what it is, it's not a bad game. For this to come from Squanch and the makers of Rick and Morty, I feel like this is much more tasteful in overall just a good game, right? So
yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day,
so far,
it's in Game Pass, right? It's not going to cost you a dime. You could logistically go and download it. If it's your bag, then you go and you play it. If it's not your bag, then you go in and you delete it from your hard drive and you just move on to something else. That's the wonderful thing about Game Pass. It allows you to try games. It doesn't force you to invest in a game that you might not enjoy. This game is a first-person shooter. It is a comedy-based game. There is a lot of adult humor here. I would definitely suggest that if you have kids and you're going to play this, do
Get 'em
not
out of there.
you get them out of there or put it on
Turn the
big screen.
volume up so they can hear all the curses.
That's right. You got to learn somehow, Boom.
I mean, there's definitely that.
I will say though, like one thing I'm impressed by, because Xbox has been kind of like, one thing I hope they get away from is kind of like shying away from the more mature titles, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so this kind of leans toward that. So I'm happy for that reason.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want them to Disneyfy everything. That, you know, it seems like
No,
they kinda do that
there
at
is a
times.
fine balance that must be, or a tightrope or a razor's edge, however you want to talk about it. I think that there's something to be said about going one way or the other. To be honest with you, I agree. I think that there is room for family. I think there is room for everyone, and I think there is certainly room for adult.
Agreed.
Right.
And I think Microsoft is working towards that, because obviously, you know, we've seen some big games, specifically what you see in front of you. A Plague's Tale is an adult themed game. There is murder. You are killing people.
Yeah,
so
that's a good game too.
On top of it being a
Best
great
narrative game, in my opinion. Just
Loved
it's
Best
one of the
narrative.
games that when
Hear.
you play it and you pay attention to the story on how dynamic and family oriented it is, you know, her love for her brother and how she's even at odds with the mother, you know, where she has taken over the mothership of her brother as opposed more so than the mother. You look and you see that this is an adult game. But getting back to, you know, I know that Retri was really high on this the other day. He feels that this is the snub of the century.
Yep.
This does not get any wins whatsoever at the Game Awards, and it is a bit shocking when something. And again, folks, don't take this the wrong way. I still don't understand how Stray beat out Vampire Survivors. I'm going to be honest with you. I get it at, you know, being a good game. It's a great game. I quite enjoying my time with it. Is it better than is it better than Vampire Survivors to to win the award for best new indie? The answer is absolutely not.
Yeah, I agree. I beat Stray. I enjoyed it for what it was, but it definitely did not deserve to win that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, folks, we have a big show. We have three very powerful voices with very big opinions, and we have to get into the breaking story that happened yesterday. But before I do, I want to catch up on the super chats. The first one of the day comes to us from Drawn TJ, who drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Hi, Boom and panel." Well, hello to you, brother. Thank you for the generosity, and of course, thank you for being here, Drawn TJ. We also have Stuff Shorn, good generous friend of the program, drops a £2 super chat and says, "Can you plug Dutch's charity streams? Great cause." I definitely will plug Wandering Dutch. Obviously, you know, he's a panel member of the Primetime Gaming on Wednesday evenings, and obviously he has his own incredible podcast and YouTube channel. Well, he's doing an amazing charity stream. Stuff Sean, if you want to drop that information into the chat, please by all means copy and paste it and drop it in there. I think everyone should swing by, give it a view. Maybe drop a couple of bucks. It is the holiday season. I know money's tight for everyone, but $5, $10, $15 will make a big difference, especially when a lot of people do it. My wife and I are gonna swing by and drop a donation or two when that goes live. I don't have the specifics in front of me, but Stuff Sean, you can drop that in if you want, and I'll read it live on the air for everyone to go and check out. We also have Double X Grum. Double X drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Put this into Umbra's webcam jar."
That's my boy Grum right there.
Good stuff. We also have a very generous $10 super chat from Highlander 001. Hey, brother, thanks for the generosity. He says, "Afternoon, Mr. Boom. Great panel. Jim Ryan is not scared of losing Call of Duty. He is scared of the fact that Satya Nadella gave Microsoft the checkbook, the Microsoft checkbook to Phil Spencer. Before Xbox gaming had a limited budget, not now. Yeah, they're all in on gaming, and I think that Jim Ryan and company understand that even though they are a $1 billion company. Of course, I'm talking about Sony Interactive Entertainment. They're not bums, folks. They're not the new kids on the block. They've been a part of the industry since the PlayStation 1, and they have been the market leader for 20 plus years. So they may not have as much money as Xbox or Microsoft, but they certainly have money to invest, and they did a lot of investing in the last 2 years. As a matter of fact, I think it's been a total of 8 studios, including Bungie, which was a $3.6 billion purchase. Oh, by the way, Highlander 001 drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "We have a swear jar. When I play GTA Online and Call of Duty, my 11-year-old daughter just puts my ATM card in it." Oh, that is hilarious, dude. Not throwing daddy under the bus. That's funny. Internal Shaddai drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, in every January was the VGA event. Do you think High on Life and Callisto Protocol would have been candidates, either Game of the Year or any other genre candidate? See, Callisto Protocol is a weird one. I'm at the end. I'm literally been at the end for a week. I'm at the second stage of the last boss, and it is the checkpoint system is not good.
Yeah,
they literally put you right in front of the boss, within a few feet, and if you don't have the right weapons, trying to change your weapon. First of all, there are a lot of things I love about the game. There are a lot of things I do not like about the game. The changing of the weapons is a drag. I'll say that. You have to take apart a gun. It's not as simple as just switching the guns. And when you're fighting a boss that's 50 times your size, and you have limited room of to where to move, it's a bit frustrating. I'm going to be honest with you. But listen, look. At the end of the day, I'm going to die on this hill. I think it is an absolute gaming injustice that when you are the leader of something as important as the Game Awards, and you turn around and you limit your picks to an 8, 9, or 10-month period, it's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. The Game Award, I understand from a business practicality, you have all these corporate sponsors, they want to sell their wares. I get all of that. But at the end of the day, if you're going to say that this is the Game Awards for X year, all 12 months count. Okay? A perfect example of absolute heinous snubs. Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right? One of the best Star Wars games, and some people might say since the 360, since the Force Unleashed, and some people say that it's even better. Okay, KOTOR, right? That game came out, broke sales records, broke review records. It won both critically and commercially, and never got a nomination. Halo Infinite. Say what you want about the game, folks. You can say whatever you want about the game. It doesn't have the content that I want. Okay, I hear you, but there is no doubt that is an absolutely fine shooter in every aspect. And to suggest that doesn't even get put into the category of ongoing game is another ridiculous thing. So look, I don't want to take us down this path. We have almost 500 people here. Most people are here for the righteous smoke. And shout out to K. Asante, who's in the chat. It was reported yesterday. Well, let's kind of rewind the tapes here a bit. Microsoft, surprise folks, is trying to buy Activision for nearly $70 billion. And there's been a lot of pushback. Specifically, the FTC has decided they're going to sue to block this, which is a mistake for the FTC led the Lena Khan led FTC. I think she's doing this for political gain and not for the right reasons that we discussed yesterday when I read what the mission statement of the FTC is. If you read the mission statement and you look at this particular deal, it's two different things going on. And I think Lena Khan is not only going to lose in court, but I think she's going to lose her job. And I would say rightfully so on that, because she has made big tech a political career advancement move instead of actually trying to stop big tech and companies from hurting consumers or from hurting competition. And she has lost so many cases so far that I think it's only a matter of time before she is going to be outed for losing so many cases, because we've heard, and again this is just speculation, we've heard that she would rather go to court and lose than accept concessions, which to me is terrible business. That's just awful business practices. So Microsoft has had the backing of pretty much everyone in the industry. We've seen Gabe Newell come to their defense. We've seen Zelnick from 2K. We've seen many other responses, specifically from the Brazilian review, where they said, there's no concessions, there's no hurt on competition for our area, and most of the publishers and developers that they polled had no problem with this deal. Well, Sony is the only one for a multitude of reasons. Now, Microsoft has made it recently clear that they intend to keep Call of Duty on parity for 10 years. But what we didn't know, and what was brought out in a earth-shattering Bloomberg report yesterday, is that not only, folks, did they offer Call of Duty for 10 years, they offered PlayStation the ability to sell it in their streaming service known as PlayStation Plus. Now, I know that the panel here literally are beside themselves. Shout out to John Wolf, who was going back and forth with me in the chat. He is livid over this. He calls it to be, he feels that it's unfair. He feels this is pandering. Personally, I know Game Pass, I know Retri has a lot to say about this. See, for me personally, folks, I don't care that it goes into their streaming service. I actually don't care. I think that at the end of the day, Microsoft is going to be making billions off of this deal, not only in microtransactions, but the money that Sony is going to have to pay them. Because think about this for a second.
Yep.
They're not getting this for free, right? It's not going into PlayStation Plus for the price of, hey, we're good. They're going to have to pay, and more than likely, it's probably going to be upwards of $750 million. And I say that because Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 made $1 billion. I think was it 7 days or 10 days. It was the fastest selling Call of Duty in the history of the brand. So if they intend to put it into their streaming service, it is going to cost Sony a pretty penny. Now, we do have several responses from multiple sources in the community. We have Nina Bass, I think is her name is. She's from Bloomberg. We also seen many. I'll pull them up momentarily, but let's get to Retri, who is literally chomping at the bit for this. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, is this the extreme mode to get this deal done? And I think really the big ticket item on this conversation is Sony has not agreed to this. Well, I mean, my question to you is, how much more does Microsoft need to do to get Sony on board? This is lunacy.
There's nothing Microsoft can do to get them on board. Nothing. This is like unprecedented deals going on here. You'll never probably ever hear about another deal like this again from one company to another. It's pretty unreal. Is it too much? I'm kind of in two minds of this. I like to put myself in the consumer seat because I'm a consumer. And then I like to put myself in Microsoft's headspace as a company. On the consumer side, I basically just want Xbox to shank Sony and not give them a damn thing. But my business mind says, yeah, why not? Like, it's smart for Microsoft to make Sony pay out their ass for the rights to have COD on their subscription service. But I don't like it as a fan of Xbox. It's extreme pandering to the market leader. And it's also setting a precedent. That's as someone who's like written union contracts and stuff, this makes me super nervous for the future of acquisitions, for the future of gaming, because you are letting these regulators from across the world dictate the industry. The pandering to number one is it's out of hand, and it's making me wonder what the hell is going to happen for the next acquisition from anyone, including Sony. Sony is spouting out so much crap that I have a feeling it's going to come back and bite them, as it should. The next acquisition that happens under Sony, which will probably happen within a year, these regulators better get ready to pounce. They better, keep that same energy, right?
Yeah, no, you're onto something when you say that.
Will it be under a microscope when Tencent, that everyone keeps forgetting exists for some odd reason, or when Sony is, is this a USA bad, Microsoft bad thing, and everyone else is good? Is it because it's big tech? I think it's because Microsoft is big tech. I think it's regulators not doing the research. I think it's clear as day. If you actually read the complaints from the FTC line by line, they're not doing the research. I don't understand how they could possibly expect to win if it goes to federal court. They're going to get decimated. If I can rip apart every argument they have easily, what do you think a multi-million-dollar lawyer under Microsoft's pay is going to be able to do? So,
well, I mean, listen, Hogue Law had an incredible 2.5-hour live stream when this decision came down the following day, and he literally destroyed it. He basically eviscerated the entire complaint. Yeah. And like I said, he's not getting paid for it. So obviously the maximum effort that he's going to put in is for his channels. That's why he broke it down the way he did. And that's why he's over 110,000 subscribers, because his work is tireless. And he broke it down line by line. And
the first sentence, Boom. Sorry to interrupt. The first sentence about their complaint is about high performance consoles. They're literally trying to take out Nintendo out of the conversation. Ridiculous. It is insane that they can do that. You don't get to cherry. They are literally trying to make Sony and Microsoft a separate market altogether than Nintendo.
Literally wrote them off as a kid's toy.
Yeah. Which also Nintendo sent out the information, which we know is now BS, because we know 20 to 30 is the majority of Nintendo gamers. Yes. We already know that. Thank you, Nintendo, for disproving another thing that the FTC is arguing towards. So, like I said before on your other podcast, Boom, I'm looking forward to this fight because the FTC is going to get their asses handed to them. And I am actually feeling a lot better with the EU saying, hey, FTC, Microsoft didn't promise that stuff. You might want to get your facts straight. Like, that is making me tip towards maybe there's a shot with the EU and the CMA.
Well, I mean, the report that the CMA put out yesterday, basically letting the one thing about the CMA and the EU is they're very front facing when it comes to these kind of things. So they've been putting the information out as it comes available. And yesterday they put out a document from someone. We all thought it was Epic Games, and then of course, Todd Sweeney came out and said, did I call him Todd Sweeney? Tim Sweeney came out and confirmed that they have not commented on it publicly or privately, for that matter. So a lot of folks are, again, it's the internet. The sleuths of the internet will figure out who it was by some point.
Right.
But they were all for it. They confirmed that this is not going to hurt the market in any way, and that it is up to the CMA and in the CMA's hands to allow for growth in the industry, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're gonna stick on this for a bit, because this is a big topic. Obviously, we're gonna get Steel Rain back here if he's not already here. Yeah, he's having some mic issues. So, you know what? My question to you, Retri, is at this point, there are some people in the online, on the interwebs, suggesting that this last ditch effort was a ploy by Microsoft to make Sony look just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, we've offered you the 3 additional years, then the 5 years, then a 10-year deal, and now we're hearing the 10-year deal was offered to have it in your service as well. Now, we don't know.
That's not. Yeah, I think a lot of people on the internet are mistaking that that's a new thing. It's not. Apparently, that was part of the original 10-year deal from the get-go when the 10-year deal came to be. So sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
No. I'm glad you brought that up, because obviously this isn't. There's some people suggesting, oh, you see, Microsoft just added this at the back end. No, this was a part of the 10-year deal when it was offered. It just hadn't made to public consumption.
Right.
Now that it's out in the open and we've digested it, it seems even more ridiculous that they wouldn't have it and they wouldn't accept it on their own service. That their biggest concern was, of course, Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass. They cited it in their complaint, in their response, and they actually put out numbers that Microsoft may or may not wanted anyone to know. They're at 29 million.
Yep.
And the reason why they have that information is because one of their first-party games is in the service, and they have a look under the hood. And actually, shout out to King David for mentioning that last night. That yes, Microsoft can't look under the hood and see how many actual numbers Sony has, but Sony can look under the hood of Game Pass because they have a key to the front door, because they have a first-party game in MLB The Show. So that's why that number came out, and they did that on purpose. Again, ultimately, if you are a regulator in the UK, in the EU, and you're looking at this, you say, I mean, at some point you got to side with Microsoft, saying we have offered everything, including the kitchen sink, and they still do not want to play ball. They're the only entity talking about this particular deal being bad for gaming when it's only going to be bad for SIE.
Right. And that's also debatable with them offering them 10 years of it being on the console. I mean, really, Sony's still winning out when it comes to that. The problem is Sony doesn't want this deal to go through at all. And it seems like they have the FTC in their pocket because they don't want it to go through either. It's very clear. But the problem is, it seems that way. But what it really comes down to, Boom, is that the FTC just has this hate boner for Microsoft, and it's the big target that everybody can look at and say, "Let's go after them. We can make a name for ourselves with them." And as you pointed out earlier, Lena Khan had lost other cases recently. I believe somebody pointed out there was 6, right? Yeah, exactly. And what's up, Bad Bit? And so you had those cases lost. What better way to rebound than to try to win something against big bad Microsoft, right? But everybody and their mother knows there's no real legitimate merit behind the case. That's the big problem for them. And Microsoft, like you pointed out, they've been bending over backwards. I got really annoyed when I saw this news the other day. Everborn shared it in a tweet, and it was I
responded to you. He was like, "This can't be real."
I'm like, nah. I just wrote it off. Like, nah, get out of here. Whatever. I'm like, what PlayStation fanboy site is this?
Right.
Get the
New York Times.
Right. New York Times, but they're not hardly. They're not. Yeah, I can't trust them. Yeah, but like I'm like, what is this malarkey? I started talking like Joe Biden out there. Yeah, this malarkey. But then I saw Bloomberg. I was like, oh Lord, it's real.
Right.
And I was like stunned. I was like, nah, I can't. This is what world am I in right now? Did I get in high on life too? I don't know. But no, it surprised me. It surprised the hell out of me. I'll just be honest with you. And the reason why, and I get the logic too. Like Microsoft is going to double dip and win. It's a W for them, regardless, right? And it comes from obviously it would come from more from the fan side of me, outside of the logical side of me, right? Because it feels like Sony is getting everything handed to them their way, regardless of this. That's what it feels like. But as you pointed out, Boom, they are going to have to pay for this game to be in that service if they were to accept it. And mind you, they still haven't accepted it. They're like, hey, we're giving you 3 years. Nope. 5 years. Nope. Inadequate. 10 years. We're just not going to reply. And we'll also give it to you to put in your PS Plus. That'll surely bring your fans and have you get new subscribers. We don't reply. So it's crazy to me how obvious it is that Sony just does not want this deal to go through. It can't be made any clearer than this. And obviously for the FTC, it just shows a lack of them understanding how things work. But in actuality, it just comes down to the fact that they want to target Microsoft, and that right there is unfair, and it's unfortunate that they have this power to kind of pull those types of stunts. And as people pointed out, and lawyers and such who know more, such as Hogue Law, they don't want this to go to actual court. They wanted to keep it in house. That's they don't want it to actually go outside of the FTC and their own hearings and their own buildings and such. So that's the biggest thing about it. I just dislike how it feels and how it comes off as like we have to bend the knee to Sony. It just feels that way when I read that, honestly.
Yeah, no, well, I am going to say this, the outlier here, again, right now, the FTC is being sued by a company that has claimed that the way that they have to go through lower courts to get to the higher courts is unconstitutional. And the Supreme Court, our Supreme Court, agrees. There's something to be said about due process. If you know what due process means, it means that it's supposed to be swift. It's supposed to be gives you the ability that if there is a case to be had, you are allowed or allotted a swift or reasonable amount of time to have that case seen by a federal judge or a judge. The reason why the FTC did not file an injunction, like a lot of people expected them to, is because this case, this deal was not ready to go through. Now, there's going to be a different conversation for Lena Khan and the FTC if, by some chance, this deal does go through on the CMA and the FTC, the EU Commission. Now, if the EU Commission and the CMA both find that this is not going to hurt the market, that this is going to open up competition. There is what's going to happen at that moment is Lena Khan is going to have to make a decision on whether or not she files an injunction. And as we heard from Hogue Law, she does not want this seen by a federal judge because she will be laughed out of court. Which again, at that point, it might be in her personal best interest to abandon this conquest to try to block this deal because she does not have a leg to stand on. Now, obviously, if the CMA and the EU decide to step up and block this deal, Microsoft is in a bit of trouble because at that point, do you try to fight all three fronts? I don't know. I don't know if that's a winning battle, but I think that there is something being done here differently on both aspects of this conversation. The FTC is using politically motivated reasons to try and stop this deal. Whereas, as we've seen so far, the CMA and the EU Commission seem to be using what you're supposed to use in a decision that's this big, and that is the evidence that has been provided and that they have gathered. We have to welcome in Mr. Badbit. What's going on, Joe? How you feeling?
What's up? The real travesty right now is that we have the Trophy Room Awards, and so many of all of the categories, you the viewers get to vote on.
Yes.
It's not like the Game Awards over there. No, but there's a travesty. Elden Ring is not sweeping it like I want it to.
As it
so
should.
make sure, as it should, as its God-given right to land, liberty, and the pursuit of getting Elden Ring Game of the Year. It's not even in second place. My audience is failing me. I need you guys at Mr. Badbit over on Twitter. It's right there. Just vote. Make Elden Ring win.
It's my Game of the Year so far as well.
Come on. What are we doing here?
And I'm not even supposed to like that game, to be honest with you, but somehow I absolutely love it. Joe,
that's the real travesty. Yes,
it
hi,
is.
Boom.
And you know what? We will get to you, and we will shout out your Trophy Room Awards, which is a phenomenal, a phenomenal entry into what a lot of people looked as the Game Awards being a little skewed. And they do it right over here, and I love what Joe and the team does. Joe, we'll get to you in a moment. First of all, welcome back, Steel Ring. Hopefully your mic is working good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is. You are clear as day. Nice. We're going to get to you in a second. We're going to get your hot take opinion, but we got to go to Infinite Umbra here. Infinite Umbra, you're very annoyed by this. You don't like the pandering. You don't like bending the knee to Sony, and that's what it seems like to you. I know you gave us your spiel momentarily, but for you, what are your takes on this?
Well, for me, honestly, it comes down to two things. The FTC doesn't want this to go through without them coming out looking like the winner somehow, right? So Microsoft has to make these concessions. And for me as a gamer, it feels like, I don't know, like they're just being blatantly unfair to Microsoft. And not just because I'm an Xbox, super fan, but the fact that Sony seems to kind of do and get away with what they want to do and acquire what they want to acquire without having so much scrutiny. But again, I know it comes because Microsoft is the big bad Microsoft like it used to be. That's how people view them still. And it's a big win for a major tech company. Then it goes down to Microsoft, and Microsoft are making these concessions, and they're not succeeding. No, they're not succeeding against the United States. They're making these concessions, and and obviously the clear point is Microsoft just wants the deal done. Now they can go to court. Obviously they have the money for it. They will outlast the FTC in that regard for their budget. It's clear if they go to an actual, court away from the FTC, they're going to win. It's pretty clear cut from everything we've heard from Hogue and other people still, Luke Steele and everybody like that. Shout out Luke Steele. But I think Microsoft just wants this out of the way. And that's why I said it's a double dip for them, because it goes into both subscription services and offers gamers the choice to buy them as well. It's a win-win.
Here's something that's going to annoy you, folks. We got breaking news live on the air. Apparently, Bloomberg has just quoted Brad Smith, and he has officially confirmed that Microsoft offered Sony the deal for 10 years and to offer it into their streaming service as a consent decree, and they have officially refused the deal.
Wow. Sony's playing hardball here, huh?
Nah, that's not what it's about, man. But I'll leave that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous at this point. I mean, like I said, it's obvious to all of us here. None of us are some lawyered up geniuses, but it's clear Sony just doesn't want us to go through. They're not signing anything. They've have everything handed their way, and they're still like, nope. So it is what it is. I think despite what Sony wants, at the end of the day, Microsoft will get it. But it's annoying that this is still ongoing. And I'll be honest with you. If I had to have them fight for these studios like this, I would rather it be a different studio that I wanted, some Capcom or WB Games and such. I mean, just being selfish, but I get why, as a bigger picture wise, they want ABK. If it was up to me, it wouldn't be this company that they've been fighting for. But it's a lot on the line for them to lose this, not just for Microsoft, it's more so for all those employees who are going to be affected.
The human factor here is one of the elements that seem to be, and you know what specifically, you talk about, the human elements. You talk about the people that are behind this deal. This deal isn't just about plastic box versus plastic box. And I know people want to simplify it and make it about that, but it's not. You have the CWA, which is this country's biggest union. And they have obviously condemned the FTC blocking this deal. And this is, again, you can look at it any way you want, but you have to bring into the conversation the fact that for the first time in gaming history, folks, a union was going to be allowed into the door and have a seat at the table. The gaming voice actors have a union, but developers do not. And this was an opportunity for the FTC, which is supposed to be for people, right? They're supposed to represent the people that are affected by deals this big, and they have completely ignored that that Microsoft has agreed to have the CWA. They said they're going to be neutral. It's already being set up at Bethesda and ZeniMax right now as we speak. 300 people have formed a union so they can have a seat at the table. That's their words. And now what we have is this being stopped because the FTC has an agenda that's politically motivated by the head chair, Lena Khan. This is her politically motivated ideology that I think fails the American public, specifically on the fact that millions of dollars are going to be wasted. Taxpayer dollars are being wasted on something that is not going to hurt the industry, that is going to generate competition and is going to make Sony be better, who is the market leader and has been the market leader for 2+ decades. I don't understand this. It is crazy to me. And even in the complaint, Steele, I want to get to you on this.
Okay.
They didn't
Boom.
Yes, sir.
Before you get into that, Calorie in the chat is trying to correct us, and I think he's actually right. He's saying Sony didn't refuse the consent decree. The FTC did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Just
Thank you for
wanted
the
to throw that
correction.
out
Yeah,
there.
because the way it was written to me in the DM, which I opened up, is how it was written. All right. No big deal. That's fine. So the FTC has denied the consent decree, which is preposterous.
They want to sue.
They want to sue, and again, that is why I'm hoping that the CMA and the EU do approve this, because what it's going to do is then put Lena Khan's toes to the fire. She's going to have to make a decision on whether or not this goes in front of a federal judge, and if it does, she's going to be laughed out of court. There's just no doubt about it. But let's Steel Rain, let's get your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I know. First of all, shout out to Calorie for making that correction. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. If Sony wanted to accept this deal, if they thought that this deal was going to be good for their gamers, they could have come out and said, "FTC, hold on a sec. Let's put out a public statement, a front-facing public statement.
Mm-hmm.
We don't think this is going to hurt our deals. We think this is a great deal for Microsoft. We're going to sign the contract." And the FTC would have been at that point really would have potentially made a different decision. So I know that they officially haven't denied it, but the no response allowing for the FTC to make this the lawsuit basically says that they didn't want this deal to go through. My question to you very simply, Steele, is how better of a deal could they have been offered at this point?
To me and how I look at it, I don't think there is any better of a deal, without saying that only one side has to make concessions versus the other side, which is tying in with Umber point too earlier. It's just really weird how things are coming across. Like one side can have things and the other can't. But with the information that y'all just brought in, and especially with that correction, I feel like this kind of just doubles down on the point that this is definitely more so about big tech, about Microsoft being the biggest software company out there. I think it's more so just trying to make an example out of them than anything else. Because I mean, guys, we've been talking about it for weeks. Hogue Law, shout out to Hogue. He's been breaking down the information, and in no two ways from Sunday can you make sense out of why this deal doesn't make sense for Microsoft, or how it's going to damage people, or the industry more so than anything else. Because I mean, I was leaning more so towards, hey, Sony just doesn't want to get it done, because King David also brought up an excellent point on Sunday about it possibly being about the union side of everything. And if you look at it from an honest lens, I'll say, that could be very true. That is something that within the gaming industry has been extremely difficult to make sure that everybody gets at least fair pay, especially like QA testers and things like that. And I know people don't see, not everybody sees the value in those people, but even the little guy needs to be taken care of so that you can put out better games, right? Quality testing is such a major thing, and that's one of the major sides of why the union and everything is going to be important, along with devs and everything else. I'm making sure they're taken care of. But if the only thing that I see is them trying to make an example out of Microsoft just because they can. Microsoft can afford to go to court. Microsoft can afford to either choose to fight this or not. And I think at this point it's going to be a really telling sign on whether they see worth on chasing this down to totality, which I believe that they should. I don't think they should back off the whole Activision deal. I know people are like, oh, well, maybe they should stop it, drop everything, and just pay them their money and focus on these other deals. And it's like, oh, I mean, I understand where you guys are coming from, but there's so much more, including the human element with Activision Blizzard, that I think is going to be extremely important when they come under Microsoft. So looking at it on that side, that's the only thing that I can come up with now that is the crux of this entire conversation now. So
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it is pretty preposterous that Sony found this deal from the get-go to be unacceptable, and as the years of the deal went upwards of a decade, it still wasn't good enough for them. Like I said, if they really wanted this deal to go through, if they wanted to be a part of the solution and not be a part of the problem, they could have publicly come out and said, yes, we just met with Microsoft. They offered us this, that, and a third. We thought it was a good deal for our gamers, and the FTC may or may not have moved to block it, because what it seems like is that they are concerned for one entity, not the open market. And in my opinion, that is clear as day. I know that opinions are like a-holes and everyone has one, but I think that the facts of the case in front of us dictate that Sony is doing everything in their power to get this deal stopped. They're the only one complaining. They're the only ones that have spent time and money going to every part of the world to get this deal blocked from other regulators. What I'm hoping happens, and again, I can't say for sure, because the outlier here, or the wild card, if you will, is the CMA and is the EU regulators. What's interesting, and I know I talked about this with everyone yesterday, Microsoft signed a $2 billion deal with the London Stock Exchange, which, believe it or not, has nothing to do with the CMA or the EU regulators. As a matter of fact, the EU regulators just passed a deal that the London stock market had with another company, and they let them merge. So, I mean, obviously, Microsoft is heavily invested in that region. What I'm hoping for is justice. I'm hoping that at the end of the day, the facts of the case are used to make a proper decision. And obviously, one of the many people or the developers and publishers that the CMA and the EU have polled, that document made the rounds yesterday. And obviously who it was redacted. We don't know who it was, but whoever it was had an incredible closing statement where they basically said that there is literally nothing wrong with this deal, and that they feel that it is the CMA's duty to allow the deal to go through for the benefit of the entire industry. which I thought was pretty good. And again, those documents are going to start making the rounds. I would imagine that by the time mid-January has come and went, when the CMA and the EU are to make their decisions on this, we'll probably have a dozen of these documents. I'm just interested to see what the overall consensus is for the entire industry, rather than just, we know what Sony said. Their 22-page document was out there for everyone to see. It is what it is. But, Mr. Badbit, let's get your opinion on this. Are you surprised by the bullishness of Sony and the fact that they didn't say anything at all?
I'm more surprised Elden Ring is not winning our game of the year right now.
That is the shocker. I will say
it's a shocker. Everybody, we need to go. We need to vote. We need to make our voice heard.
But you know why it's not happening, right?
Why?
A lot of the PlayStation guys that follow you are like, nope. If we can't get justice in the VGAs, we'll get justice in this world. That's exactly what it is.
I need it. I need vindication. No,
I'll do it for you.
Thank you. God bless. This man is a fan of democracy. Guys, I'm going to say something very unpopular, but I do expect a round of applause. First off, thanks for being here. Or thank you for having me, brother. Nobody knows what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on. I mean, you read this, you're like, yes, this should go through. This sounds like a good deal. I'm not a poker player. I would take this. This sounds like this is the absolute best that I'm going to get. This sounds like everything that Jim Ryan probably wanted. Again, if I'm Jimbo, I feel like I'm walking into the Sony exec board meeting going, all right, guys, look at how good I just did, right? Like this is
exactly.
This is really good.
We did it, guys.
But apparently he's a better poker player than I or everybody else thought. Because every step of the way through here, we've all been wrong. We've all thought, I'm like, okay, this is where this story ends. But it keeps going. Oh, the FT, what is it? Like back in October, like there's no way they're going to sue. And then here we are, right? So it's just like, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know bird law, but to me, it seems like an open and shut case. And look, I'm a PlayStation guy. I think Activision, this deal should go through. Am I a fan of it? Not really. But at the end of the day, do I feel like in my heart of hearts everything's perfectly legal as an old country lawyer? Yeah, it should go through. And hopefully that means Sony gets weird and it tries to do some different things with its studios, different IP. But Sony's looking at this differently. And I've said this numerous times to people yelling at me, so I must be doing something right. And I'll say here, it's an existential crisis for everyone. This is a big deal for everyone. It's a big deal for Sony because Sony knows Microsoft is not going to stop at Activision Blizzard. It's going to go and acquire more publishers, right? So they're saying if we could stop it here and now, we're going to. It's a big problem for Microsoft because they have executive, CEO, all of it, bonuses, their careers tied to this deal. So there is some huge implications if this thing doesn't go through, right? So for Microsoft, it's not like if this thing doesn't go through, big old Satya Nadella goes, okay, well, you still have $70 billion, go out and spend. That's not how this shit works. Sorry. Cussed. I forgot. It's not.
That's all right. That's all right.
It's like we got to evaluate now because now the market or the environment around us rather looks a whole lot differently because we can't just go out there and scoop these companies that we want to scoop. It's going to be a lot more difficult because we are a $2 trillion company and we are looked at differently than the other companies out there. So that's not a great look. This is important. It's important to them. They know that. And it's really important what y'all said, right? Activision Blizzard. I want Bobby Kotick gone more than most people, right? You're seeing some huge infighting there and people fighting to make that workplace better. And it seems like Microsoft is going to be the best suitor to make those things a reality. And if this deal doesn't go through, what happens to Activision, right? What happens to them? God knows. Who knows? Do they go out there and try to merge with EA like reports were claiming a year back? Probably. But all I know is that the environment's not going to improve for those people trying to fight for a better workplace.
Yep.
right? For those unions inside Raven and Buffalo right now. That's the thing that I care most about. I don't care if PlayStation gets this thing or not. I want to make sure that those people are well taken care of. But the fact of the matter is, I can't tell you that the FTC goes to court and it doesn't win. I can't tell you that. I'm not a lawyer. I can't tell you.
Right.
What I've seen is that, they probably should, but honest to goodness, do I know for sure? No. Do I want this deal to go through again? Reluctant, yes. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, we don't know what's going on. We can make assumptions all we want, and that's fine, but I don't know. And listen, again, everyone's been wrong. Like, I love Hogue. He is one lawyer. There are hundreds of lawyers right now fighting for this thing to either go through or not to go through. Each of them probably has their own different opinion or viewpoint and whatever have you. So to me, we really have to be a little pragmatic in the way we look at this, going, I know near nothing, Jon Snow, about what's about to go down. And I gotta wait to see how this thing actually opens up in front of us. The only thing I can do is react. And to me, I take a look at what the FTC's concerns of, and I just see Microsoft making an active attempt to quell those concerns. And I would say, Microsoft offering Call of Duty, even the licensing, they're not just they're not saying we're going to put Call of Duty on PlayStation Plus carte blanche. PlayStation does have to pay for that. Like, they have to pay for the right to license them. So, that being said, though, Microsoft going, we give you 3 years. We'll give you more than 3 years. Oh, we'll give you 10 years. Put it on PlayStation Plus just screams, not that we want to get this through, but we need to get this through.
Right.
That's how it screams to me as just a total non-lawyer person. Microsoft sees that there's a real chance that this thing doesn't go through, and they are offering now the part that we all thought was going to happen. This is the concession portion. This is where they start conceding things. This is what is going to probably hurt for probably both sides here, right? Because PlayStation isn't going to get to keep all of the Activision goodness from them, but they're going to be able to probably keep Call of Duty. The concession for Microsoft is what they get to double dip and get money off of PlayStation players and Xbox players. I don't know. This is the concession portion. When I see the CMA, FTC, EU asking these questions in a rather pointed manner, I just see this as part of the process.
Yeah,
they're saying this is what we see. Now prove us that this isn't the way we're seeing it, and Microsoft has to prove that. So I don't know. Is it politically charged? Absolutely. Every FTC is going to have, depending on who the president is going to have a political slant. That's always been the way it's been since the 1920s, since the FTC's formed. So that's always going to be a thing. It's always going to be politically motivated. This FTC is more about regulation, stiff regulation, than the laissez-faire attitude it's been the past 4 years prior. So to me, I don't know what's going on. I'm not a doctor, let alone a lawyer. So all I can say is we got to just wait to see how this deal happens. It's going to happen. It's going to take time. It's going to take time, but I'm not going to pretend to be a lawyer. I don't know who's right and wrong. I'll crumble on the podium. I can't make an argument to save my life. But what I can say is we need to save democracy, and we need to vote for Elden Ring for the trophy reward. That's all I know.
Voting.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, this deal is either going to go through or it's not. I feel that it is a travesty if it doesn't. And like I said, I know from
it's not a travesty, Boom. I think it'd be real dumb. It's like,
well, it would be dumb because, like I said, what's being ignored here is who it's going to help in the end.
Yeah.
Consumers are going to have better choices and a better way to get Activision content on Xbox. Potentially, PlayStation players are going to have the ability to, through their subscription, get a game that Sony is charging $70 for, or Activision is charging $70 for, and
Or
they'll
Microsoft,
have to,
huh?
yeah. I mean,
There's
I mean, there's that. There's also the fact that Bobby Kotick is going to be removed from power. And someone new is going to take over with an ideology that is much different than is currently the standard, the standard way of doing business in Activision, Blizzard, and King. And also, I don't know, one of the most important moves, I think, in gaming history outside of the actual deal itself is the fact that unions are going to be allowed to form in gaming, which, again, this opens up the door for the entire industry, not just Xbox, not just Microsoft. This is going to open the door for unions to form around the country, and that is an important aspect of it. And I would even dare say it's probably the most important aspect of the deal. And for the FTC to completely ignore not only the fact that a 10-year deal with a parity and PlayStation Plus, the game going into PlayStation Plus, to completely ignore that, to completely degrade that as if that's not trying to be done. This, you can easily see that this is a politically motivated move by Lena Khan and the FTC against big tech. And obviously, there is a prejudice there against Microsoft for past dealings, and for some extent, rightfully so. But when your law document that is going to be viewed by a judge claims that one side said something to another, and then that side, the EU, comes out and says they never made those promises to us, and we never asked for them, it already is a sinking ship for the FTC. And I think that, considering that she has brought cases and lost 4 consecutive cases, now maybe the 5th one with this one that's at the Supreme Court, it's not a good look for her. It's not a good look for the FTC. And there are screaming points all around. The fact that this panel is supposed to have 5 people and it only has 4 because one quit, and they're not in a rush to fill that position, says that there is some untrustworthy things going on at the FTC. At least that's how I look at it. But we
ever seen House of Cards?
Yes, House of Cards.
There's House of Cards in it right now.
Absolutely. But listen,
they're hiding a body as we speak. I can't confirm.
Yeah, well, that dude's never going to work again. That guy's probably going to jail. But I'm talking about Spacey. Yeah, that guy's in big trouble. But listen, I got to catch up with some of the super chats, and then we will get to the last topic. And this one is an interesting one because Aaron Greenberg, good guy of the industry, great friend of many people in this community, has been out there trying to calm the fires of concern for Xbox in 2023. I believe what he's putting down, because there's no reason for him to lie. 2022 is a bad year for Xbox. There's no doubt about it. It's a disappointing year. Some people are suggesting that this was done to not look as strong as they will in 2023 for regulators. Obviously, it didn't work because they're being sued to block the deal. A lot of people on this panel, a lot of people in this chat right now walked away from the Game Awards extremely disappointed with Xbox, because all they showed was a 90-second trailer for Game Pass. No first-party goodness, no gameplay, no trailers, no nothing. And people walked away disappointed. And that is, I think, why Aaron Greenberg was out here saying, hey, folks, listen, take it easy. 2023 is going to be it's going to be amazing for Xbox gamers. We have a lot still to show, which I think 2023 ultimately for gaming is going to be huge. But I think for Xbox gamers, it is going to be a monstrous year. Granted that we do get the 3 games that were delayed from this year in Starfield, Redfall, and Forza Motorsport, and potentially, and again, this is just a potentially, 1 or 2 more first-party games on the back end of the year for the holiday, and hopefully Hellblade 2 will be one of those games. We know that a couple of months ago they finished all of the mocap. They're currently putting the game together. Hopefully they can have that done by the end of next year, and maybe in holiday would be able to say, yeah, Microsoft dropped 4 or 5 first-party games, and they're all bangers, as the kids say.
Whoa. Relax on that word.
Yeah, well, yeah, so I know.
Experiences.
Great
Phenomenal
experiences.
times.
I love it. But listen, let me read the super chats. We have one from Drawn TJ, drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, it's like King David said last night on Dirt Griggity's podcast, which I was listening to. He says that this is a poison pill because every time a PlayStation fan starts up Call of Duty, they will see the Xbox logo. And that's very true. Arigato Sir drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, Hogue said that it has a 40% chance that this deal passes. Yeah, obviously, the more problems that are thrown in the way of it, the lesser chance that this deal is going to go through. But at the end of the day, we will know where Microsoft sits with the announcement or the decisions of both the CMA and the EU Commission, which is expected to happen mid-January of 2023. So we are a few weeks away from that. And at that point, if they both approve, Lena Khan is going to have a decision to make. And I think that ultimately she or the FTC will walk away from this deal because they do not want to lose in court again. And that's ultimately why the injunction has not been issued by the FTC, because they do not want this going to federal court. We also have Eli Slomovich, good friend all the way from Israel. He drops a $5 super chat and says, and that's what he said. Bloomberg just quoted Brad Smith and confirmed Microsoft offered the deal to the FTC as FYC here. That's why I didn't understand it. As a consent decree, and they refused, sent you a tweet and a DM. Yeah, so thank you for that, brother. Definitely appreciate it. And thanks to Calorie for doing the correction live on the air. Drawn TJ drops an additional $5 super chat and says, Microsoft should say, hey, put PlayStation Plus on Xbox, and we put Game Pass Ultimate on PlayStation along with the 10-year offer. That's never going to happen. It's two different entities, and they're just doing their own thing, and it's fine. It's fine. Highlander 001 drops out an additional $5 super chat and says, if it turns into a drawn-out court battle with not only the FTC, but also the CMA and the EU, Microsoft shareholders may simply want to walk away. And I believe that is, in fact, the truth. But listen, let's get into your expectations for 2023. I'm going to start first with Steel Rain here. Steel, Aaron Greenberg, he's out there. He's making the rounds. He's trying to quell everyone's concerns about 2023. Some people have suggested, oh no, being that this deal has not gone through, is Microsoft going to have another bad year? I don't think they can survive with fans. A lot of fans are frustrated with the way Microsoft has been putting out their own content. Now listen, say what you want about their first party. It's true. They did not show up to the party prepared. But they did levy a huge amount of games into Xbox Game Pass, which I cannot complain. I do feel well represented there, but we want first-party goodness. There's no doubt about it. Do you have any concerns for 2023 as what some people are saying?
Personally, I don't. But again, I can also be fair and say I don't look at first party or value first party the same way other people do. They're typically not the main reason why I get a console. They're actually the cherry on top of anything else, because I usually find myself lost in other games. Now, to speak on Xbox just specifically, for everything that has lined up to this point, us coming off the Pandy, them picking up publishers, them picking up developers, studios, with everything that's been going on, 2023 really lines up for it to be the perfect year per se. Now, again, the world could go to HE double hockey stick and a handbasket, quick, fast, in a hurry. But with everything the way that it's lining up currently, and especially how they flooded out Game Pass this year, personally, in my opinion, at least sets the stage for what is possible. And if they can hit the cadence of, hey, we could get a first party game out once a quarter, which I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be able to. You got Starfield, Redfall, and some other games that are along the horizon too that I want to see some more about. Avowed. I don't know if that's going to come out next year, but there are quite a few games that can definitely come in and set set a new standard, but also just pull in a lot of attention for the masses, right? Because that's what's going to get the people talking, along with those consistent deals that they cut to put into Game Pass. Because whether people want to realize it or not, Game Pass is the vehicle. Game Pass is the exclusive now. And not everybody's going to see it that way. A lot of people are going to stay stuck in the old way of how we need to look at games. But with the age of accessibility on this, it's the golden age of gaming, I personally think. My brother from another Pong says the same. I think that Xbox, the only thing that bothers me at this point is their marketing going to do the games justice on whatever deal that they get? That's the most frustrating part for me always, because it's like, why do I have to go out in public? And when people ask me about Xbox, they're completely unfamiliar with any of the games that could be possibly in their library. But as soon as you mention PlayStation, they're like, oh yeah, they got this. I see these commercials all the time. And it's that marketing. It's just putting it into people's heads, even if it's not. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, the common gamer or the common folk aren't really going to pay attention. And as true as that may be in some aspects, it's all about planting a seed. And they missed a prime opportunity planting a seed, although they did it a little bit with that Game Pass trailer. Good look, have fun. I don't know who thought that hashtag was just going to set on fire all of a sudden with today's kids or just with us in general. I see what they were going for, but no, it's not. It was like a little weird. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a solid year. But I'm also expecting PlayStation to come back next year also with their exclusive. So I think it's going to be a real competition next year, and I'm excited for that. So
yeah, no, I think gaming all around is going to be tremendous. I think there's going to be just no matter what platform you play on, whether it be PC, PlayStation, the Switch or Xbox, I think the issue at hand is going to be money and time. There's going to be so much content for all. If you're like me and you, I don't play on PC, but I play on the three mains, and I think it's just going to be pretty ridiculous for gaming as a whole. But I think it's ultimately going to be one of the biggest gaming years for Xbox in a decade.
If I could tie it up real quick with a
please,
bow,
by all means, go ahead.
I'm going to put a fine bow on it. What gets me the most excited, especially based off of this year, is the games that have the possibility to come into Game Pass, because that means there's going to be more people within the ecosystem, maybe more people playing service-based game, multiplayer games that I tend to find myself highly invested in. And I think that's the true market that they're trying to make sure that they break into, continue to flush out. But that's what gets me extremely excited, because there's no telling what they're willing to put in their service.
Yeah, okay. So where this entire conversation stemmed from was from a tweet from Aaron Greenberg. Of course, he is the VP of Xbox Games Marketing at Microsoft. Not surprised. He is heavily invested in charity. He is heavily invested in this community. He constantly is out there speaking with the peoples. And this is what he had to say. He says, congratulations to all the teams that helped create so many games being recognized today at the Game Awards. Nominees across our industry. Just did a count, and there are 15 different games nominated. So you can play right now in Xbox Game Pass across Xbox, PC, and cloud. Wow. And he follows that up with, can confirm 2023 will be bananas. And I do believe him. I think that they're going to hit the ground running, whether this deal goes through or it doesn't. I think that at this point, there is nothing more. Microsoft can't hide behind delays anymore. I think there's a lot of people here that will agree that they have been waiting for that, wait till next year, wait till next each E3. I think this is the year that we're going to see come to fruition what we've always expected Xbox to do, and that's deliver on quality AAA first-party goodness. Let me go over to Retri on this. Retri, when you look at what he had to say, not only do you believe him, but do you think it's time?
Well, I know it's time. I think everybody knows it's time, right? Xbox guys are the most patient people on the planet Earth, because we've been waiting for a while for Microsoft to step up like they have, and they are, and I'm very happy with the direction that they're going in, and that's why I do a show, about Game Pass. So I'm hoping this means we are getting the rumored XO23 in January, maybe. It's got to be in the beginning of the year if there is going to be a show. And that's obviously for the Xbox fan base. They did miss an opportunity to advertise to the average Joe, because we all know the XOs are for the people already in your platform. But I will be happy at least if they do that. I mean, we should be getting Redfall, I'm hoping in Q1. At least that's what I think is going to happen. So, and then of course we got Forza Motorsport, Starfield. I'm thinking second half of the year, later in the year, maybe Hellblade, which would be fantastic. We've seen so much of Hellblade. I really do think it's coming out next year. We got Age of Empires 4 coming to console. I'm very excited for people to play that game, and I'm very curious to see how the controls work out on that game, because it's hard on PC, so it might be difficult to transfer that over, but we'll see.
Shout out to the trebuchets.
What's that? Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited about first party because it's finally happening, right?
All right.
2022 was supposed to be, it's 2023. And I really just want the ABK thing to be done so I can get Diablo 4 into Game Pass so I don't have to pay for it, which is one of my most anticipated games by a mile.
Yep.
Of course, my preferences change daily, but if there is an XO, I personally, because I'm greedy, just like I want Microsoft to gobble up everything like Pac-Man because I want everything in Game Pass. But you know what? I'm not going to apologize for that because I'm a consumer. Every time Xbox buys anybody, I save money. I don't know why anyone as an Xbox fan wouldn't want that, but I'd like to see Contraband, State of Decay 3, some gameplay. Fable, tease me again. I don't care. I'm fine with, animated.
I know where you're going down. You're talking about the CG.
I'm fine with CG.
People get all bent out of shape.
They get bent out of shape. I'm okay with it. I mean, look at Diablo. It was another CG, and it got me hyped.
Spectacular CG, by the way.
They are so good at the CG. They are bar none one of the best. Perfect Dark. Like, where's my Indiana Jones? I want to know about my possible Uncharted. How's it play? What's it look like? Is it definitely third person? And Everwild, what the hell is going on with the Everwild, right?
Hey, Retry, somebody in the space the other day said, what if Indiana Jones is a point and click game? I was like, man, you know what?
I will flip this freaking table right over. That was really hard for me not to swear just now, Boom. So I held it back. But yeah.
I appreciate it.
Nothing too in-depth. I just want nibbles, just a taste of what's coming up. And I think we deserve that. I don't like if they're going forward with the whole 12-month plan. I hate that idea. I think it's bad marketing.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Don't like it. Sony
it's very corporate.
Isn't known for doing it. Yeah, it's who's that serve? Who's that serve? It doesn't serve you. At least in my opinion.
I'm sorry.
I was just saying I don't think it serves the public to just do the 12 what's just coming out, tease me. I don't give a shit. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. It's fine. That's okay, brother. It's okay. Let's bring you into
son of a
there you go. There you go. Let's bring you into the conversation here. There's something to be said about Microsoft's Phil Spencer has said it himself, right? He knows that we are frustrated. He has said it numerous times on numerous interviews that he understands the frustration. He understands that the Xbox first-party teams have not delivered in a while. And I would take nothing away from Halo, take nothing away from Forza Horizon 5. Both in my opinions, masterclass releases, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Fable. We're talking about Avowed. We're talking about Compulsion Games, third person, story driven, fantasy IP that we haven't seen. These are what the people have been asking for. Yeah, In Exile's working on stuff. Hellblade 2 been in development since before 2018. It's now going to be 2023. What's going on? We understand COVID. We're not boobs here, but people want these masterclass experiences. And like I said on numerous podcasts, Sony does this to great success. They release their own first-party games, but they have marketing deals and exclusives that are raised by the release of God of Wars and The Last of Us and games of that ilk. That's exactly what's going to happen with Microsoft. Their smaller deals on games that are a lot smaller than their big AAA bombs are going to be elevated because everyone is going to be invested into this ecosystem because of the first party games. And then, of course, everyone around them that they make these deals for, these smaller indie titles, these smaller double and AAA developed titles, are going to be raised up right along Fable and Avowed and Hellblade and Motorsport and Starfield. What are your personal expectations for 2023?
My expectations are to be blown away. And listen, I had this discussion in that space, man, and you get a lot of mixed reactions and emotions. And it's unfortunate, right? Because I'm a diehard Xbox fan. I've been with the, platform since.
This is why we love you, brother. Because not only are you one of the most charismatic people in our spaces, but you wear your heart on your sleeve, but you do it in a way with class.
I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, and I don't say anything just to say it, right? And I think that of you guys too. I think you all are genuine people. So if I have a genuine issue with Xbox, believe that it's what I really feel. And if I love it, I truly love it. And it goes for anything. And it goes for, even with PlayStation, with the games I play. I don't lie on games. I don't lie how I feel about something. It's trivial to do that. We love games. We should not have to lie about it. My biggest feeling is that Microsoft has come up short. And however that has been the case, that they've come up short, it just is what it is. So as a consumer of their product, as a consumer of Xbox, as a proud consumer and supporter of Game Pass, and I'm much like you, Retri, when it comes to, I want them to gobble up everything. I've said it many times. I'm very greedy when it comes to that. And I'm a selfish gamer. All of us are. So the whole, what about this? I don't care. I want Xbox to have it because it goes to Game Pass. Microsoft has to step up because for the simple fact, for the past 2 years, we've been kind of slim. This year, particularly. Last year, better. But this year, 2 AA games, and I loved both. That's the funniest part. Like, they're not giving us trash. They're giving us good stuff. But you cannot just give us 2 games, AA games, 1 second party, 1 first party, and be like, that'll do it. Because the other Xbox, Game Pass games we gave you, that's not it. Now, I will say this, though, as a caveat. 2023 Game Pass games, third party, look ridiculously great. I'm looking at a list right now, and it's like, do we really need first party? I don't know.
Liza P replaced.
Seriously, Monster Hunter Rise.
Yes,
Persona
Monster
3 and 4.
January.
Stalker 2.
Atomic Heart.
What's the one from the Russian team?
Atomic Heart.
Atomic Heart.
Yes.
And
so many. Flintlock. That's one of my most excited for.
Oh, dude, I am so excited for Flintlock. It's Assassin's Creed meets something. Yeah, I mean, it looks really, really good, dude.
It looks really good. And I can go on and on and on. One thing I will give Microsoft credit for is that they have done an exemplary job, right, of Game Pass. You cannot take that from them.
I don't want to say she's solely responsible, but Sarah Bond is a beast when it comes to her position. I'm a huge fan of her. The fact that she follows me, mind blown, right? Like, why me? She is a dominant force. I think that her career is gonna skyrocket. I said this before, I'll say it again. She's gonna eventually take over for Phil Spencer. I think that would be an incredible position for her. But specifically on the Game Pass front, she leads that conversation. Let's not make that mistake. And she has done a phenomenal job on delivering content.
On the bad year, 60 day and date games, not including.
Umbra put that out there. You put out an incredible
else.
tweet, dude.
Yeah. And we, I think, in the vacuum of things, we kind of lose track of that and kind of, like, where's the first party? I mean, you're gonna have some we had a really good year for Game Pass this year, right? For third party and everything involved. 2023 is going to be a golden year without a question. But what I want from them, it might not necessarily be what we get, but I feel like we got Redfall, we have Forza Motorsport, and we have Starfield. Obviously, Starfield is going to be the star of the year. I feel like the second half has to be accounted for, though. I feel like we still need at least 2 more games.
You know
something,
I don't know if that
sounds
dude,
wrong or not.
I'm going to say something here that lines up exactly what you're saying. One of the biggest complaints or criticisms that I would personally have with Microsoft would be the fact that they sometimes don't understand that it is a 12-month year, because they pack all of these games into 6 months, and for 6 months we don't have anything first party. I think they need to spread it out. I mean, again, this next first half of 2023, we are expecting all 3 of these delayed games, but that cannot be where it ends. We need something on the back end of 2023. But please continue.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I know other people have shared their sentiment. I saw Paris talk about that before, and he pointed out that he still feels like it would not be a full like W without them having something in the second half to kind of satiate us, right? So I feel like Hellblade 2 needs to happen, right? And I think many of us do. I think it's kind of a foregone conclusion. Where we last saw them in development, it seems like it would fit in line with them releasing in the second half of 2023. And then you got Avowed, and I'm wondering how far along that is. If in my opinion, if Microsoft could deliver Redfall, Forza, Starfield, all great, exceptional. I already know Forza's going to be. I'm not even worried about Forza. Redfall and Starfield, obviously, and I have much trust on those 2. But if those games all hit, and then the second half they hit Hellblade 2, and let's say Avowed or any other game, Contraband. I know Contraband is second party technically, but imagine one of those, and if they all hit and land as 5 or 6 first party like that, a second party / second party, I would be content, especially with considering what we're getting from third party into Game Pass day and date. I would be content with that. I would give them a good grade for that. But my greed leads me to want more for first party in the second half, because it feels like you all, hey, you owe me. Hey, you remember how patient we were, right? I'm going to need something on the back end right there. Feel, but maybe that's just me being greedy and unfair. I think, though, like I said, if they can have those actual 5 drop and those games coming third party into the service,
it's going to be madness.
Absolutely,
it's going to be madness, because remember, these delays have pretty much set a precedence for 2023 of what we know. But there's a lot that we don't know, and specifically, Aaron Greenberg said, "Hey guys, gals, gamers, we still have stuff that we haven't put out there that's coming."
True.
Not in 2024, 2025, next year.
Yep.
So what you're saying is that Xbox will have a year unlike any time before it, based on everything we have in front of us. It's going to be madness.
Literally. Time to beat 2007. Let's go.
That's what I'm hoping.
That's what I'm saying.
Literally a golden year, and it's been long enough. It's been a long time coming. And as somebody pointed out, 2016 was the last AAA new IP. That's a long time. Listen, I have faith in Xbox, right? And I think all of us do. And I think that faith is going to be paid off in 23. I honestly do. I just feel like they have to kind of make up for, if that makes sense, from the shortcomings of the past. But I will say again, if they have those games launch and we still get those third-party games, nobody should really be complaining. That's a major W for all of us, especially if you're a Game Pass subscriber, which if you're not, what are you doing?
What you're doing wrong? Yeah, 100%.
My only question is that does it only take first party games to consider that a W for you?
I don't, and that's why I said I think 23 is a unique situation where.
But you name multiple first party type games that you said, if these games dropped, then that's a W for me. And
no, I'm saying even to those and those.
I got
tied with it. Yeah.
He's greedy. Remember, he can have
he admitted so. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
I got to get my achievements. I'm an achievement. I want everything.
That's why I wanted to ask.
But no, I agree with you. That's why I said 23 is kind of unique in that there are so many quality major AAA and all those types of games and AA games coming to the service that I would get over the first party not being there. And I said that on the past show with Boom. I said, if you got Game Pass, which is like you pointed out, Steel, which is basically its own exclusive to Xbox, right?
But
not only should you not complain, it's not really that. It's you got the right to complain, but it's the fact that you have so many quality games. Does first party matter when you have all of those great games coming?
I think that's what's different now too, compared to like the conversation we had before, because AAA games meant something, or that higher A games meant something because of the quality games that we were used to getting compared to like what indies are now, comparatively. So it's like now when you're looking at games, you're getting higher quality games than we've ever seen before across the board from random devs. More devs from out of the East are coming out. They're invigorating the RBG genre. Like there's so many other things that are in corporation too that it's like I feel like it gets lost in the ethos with some people, because I mean the focus has been, and it's like no fault to anybody, but the focus has been, hey, first party games, that's what you need to focus on. These are what really sell your console. But we've kind of seen it where the direction has been more so, hey, well, look at, you might have that next Forza, but then look at these other 6 great games that came out that same month.
I'll say the unpopular thing if you guys would like.
Please, well, we got to get your opinion before we get on out of here, Joe.
Yeah.
So yeah, throw your name into
how
the
many
hat.
times are we gonna let them pull the football from under us? We say this.
Are you saying
year.
Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
Don't fall for the guy. The guy gets
boo
paid
this man. Boo.
I know. Boo. The guy gets,
and to think I just voted in your awards.
He got our vote, and he's like, "Now I'm going to give it to you."
Don't do it, guys. We say this every year, right? Like Aaron Greenberg's job is to hype up the brand. He does a great job at it. Phenomenal.
Yeah,
I would love to be his understudy of how he does it. He's supposed to say these things. I'm the Laps fan, right? I own all of them. Look, I got a controller right next to me. I played Halo last night, and guess what? Who I carried? Luke Lore through the entire goddamn thing.
Haven't you been carrying Luke Lore for years?
My entire life, it seems. The point is, how many guys, we say it like
to your point,
because I'm a sucker.
Right? You're not the only one. You're not the only one. Brian V in the chat says, "Boom, stop believing that hype man. He does this every year. No more talking.
I mean,
let the
he gets paid to do it.
Talking.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
He is the vice president of marketing. I would imagine. Yes, this is his job. But
he would not say it's gonna be mediocre. Now let's get real. I want Xbox to have a great year. I say this like all the time. I root for them when they do good. They push PlayStation to do good. Everybody wins. Blah blah. You've heard the whole song and dance, but I believe it. I want Redfall in the first 6 months. That game looks awesome. I say this all the time to Booze, and I don't care. Starfield doesn't look great. What are you guys watching that I'm not? Because it does not look good at all. Redfall looks phenomenal. I'm going to pour some hours into that. Trolling aside, which I hope I really piss them off.
Unvote. Can you unvote?
This is people get angry one way or the other. It's fine. It's fine.
The way I see it, Microsoft has this problem of next year we're going to do better, and I think that's one critique that we constantly see. It's like, guys, don't worry. Next year is going to be better. Next year is going to be better. Next year is going to be better.
You got to stop.
I don't have any faith that. And here's the thing: as a Laps fan, I don't have any faith that they're going to do better. They got to show me. I can't just be like, well, no matter. There's going to be games that come out here, and it's where's the games for me, right? Where are the games that I care about? we talk about, why does, PlayStation people get like amped for PlayStation? I think Steel, you were talking about it, because exclusives do matter.
Yeah,
like
they do.
Legacy,
they are absolutely important to the conversation.
Take a look at like a game like God of War has legacy. That game sold 5 million copies in the first 3 days, and then at the same exact time, you're seeing indies being elevated by just that the presence there. Look at Nintendo. Nintendo legacy matters. They sell 10 million Pokemon, and the game doesn't even work. But because and Pokemon elevates that platform, ergo it elevates indies, and Switch is now just renowned for how strong its indie presence is. Yeah. Exclusives matter, and this is the reason why Xbox is going out there to buy things like Activision, Obsidian, and all that. They matter to people. Legacy matters to people. It's the same reason why like we're so scared out over on the trophy room that we're gonna keep on getting Uncharted's, because sequels sell, right? Though we want them to do something different, begging them, please, for the love of God. That being said, though, when Xbox goes, we're gonna have a better year. This is just the first year, whatever. Development is crazy. Development constantly changes. So to me, this is right now. This is their slate: Starfield and Redfall. That's nothing to scoff at if these games come through and if they're impactful. But I just need to see it. I need to see hard dates. Starfield should have came out 3 times ago.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Right,
it's true.
Same with Redfall. So I just need to see these things. I can't just get excited to get excited. It's the same. I feel like 2023 is going to be a slower year for PlayStation. I got Final Fantasy look forward to, and I'm going to be amped for Spider-Man, but everything else, I don't know where I'm going to be playing the majority of my time next year. Microsoft could capitalize on that. They need to. I do think Microsoft had a different problem, and I want to talk about this because I got shit from the Sony people when I said this. Microsoft had a different problem that night. Their execs actually showed up and celebrated games with people. PlayStation's, aside from Shu, did not. It just goes to show that PlayStation's interested in selling stuff to me. They're not interested in celebrating their brand to me. Yep, and that's a problem. I got a ton of crap from PlayStation folks.
But dude, here's the thing. You are a PlayStation guy.
Right.
You love PlayStation legacy titles, and they're not delivering those titles. You have a right to have an opinion.
Well, and that's the thing. So like Phil was in Microsoft's problem was Phil was in the room, but where was Xbox? Yes. Right.
Yeah.
And I do think that is it's okay to be skeptical of those things, and it's okay to go like, I don't know, how many passes are we going to give?
Dude,
so for me, it's like,
you're not wrong for saying
no more promises. Let's start showing. Hopefully we see some stuff in January, February. Usually is the time when the cycle starts up again. That we do see, hey, this is our Xbox Direct. Here's what's coming in the next 6 months.
XO23. Yes,
exactly. Here's your Redfall. Here's your Starfield. Here's when you can expect them. And I definitely think that it's probably a good idea for them to wait on releasing those dates, because let's be honest, you got a lot of great games coming out that in that time frame. I got distracted by Amicia getting eaten alive. You got like things like Zelda, you got things like Diablo waiting. So maybe you do want to go, okay, let's see what else is out there before we put these 2 new IP out there, and make sure we own a cycle with these games. Make sure,
100%. Yeah, no, probably. Well, I mean, obviously he was Matt Booty said something off the record that he was quoted in saying that we have so many games that we don't know where to put them. And he might be onto something with that, but they're going to have to strategically do this, because the last thing you want is a new IP being buried.
Absolutely, and I think that's important. They talk about Starfield, and this is me trying to be optimistic. They talk about how they want Starfield to be the most downloaded Game Pass game. Probably this has something to do with it. Let's wait. Let's see where everything falls and whatever. But I'm not throwing. Listen, guys, I'm not going to be the guy that goes like, we're going to get Hellblade. We're going to get, no, I'm not that person. I'm saying,
I am. Right now, I'm the rah-rah guy. That's me.
No, I'm very much the opposite. I'm like, we're going to get Redfall and Starfield. That's what I'm looking forward to. when it comes to and Forza is going to be amazing. It's better than Gran Turismo. There, I said it again. So now that the wolves can eat at something else, but for me, like the second part of the year, I don't know.
We're going to see, but listen, we're going to get to the outros in a second. Sorry. Joe, I want you to go first. I know you're limited on time, and I want you to put everyone out there to the Trophy Awards. I want you to sell your brand. But before we get to that, Tom from Tanami brings up a great point.
Tom?
Yes, I love the name.
I love that little robot.
And he says, Brad Smith said in this interview with Bloomberg that they offered the FTC legally binding concessions, and they refused to even sit down with Microsoft before suing. So Microsoft was trying to get this deal done, and the FTC basically said, "Go F yourself." And I think that arrogance that we're seeing from Lena Khan, and like I said, say what you want, it's a Lena Khan led FTC, so they go by her word, is going to fail. And I think that they're going to be in big trouble. Her seat is going to be in big trouble for employment if the EU and the UK CMA approve this deal. There's going to be concessions. That we know that they're willing to work with Microsoft. They're willing to work with concessions. If it gets approved there, the FTC is going to be in big trouble, because it's going to have to go to federal court. And Lena Khan is going to lose again. And at that point, the U.S. government is going to have to say that she is wasting millions of taxpayer dollars, and she's going to have to be removed from power because she does not have the people in the best interest of her decisions, which is a part of the FTC's mission statement to the Americas, to us, to the taxpayers of this country. And she is failing us miserably. I'll leave it at that. Scott Gamer, JD Gamer, wow, he drops quite a few super chats. JD Gamer, thank you for the generosity, but more importantly, brother, thank you for being here. He says this on the first $5 super chat: the FTC knows they can't win this case in court. They sent it through their administrative review, which is someone's fighting it right now, as they believe to be unconstitutional. And I would agree. He says to slow down and frustrate Microsoft. Absolutely, that's abuse of power, folks. That's what that is. Scott Gamer Dude drops a very generous $5 super chat. Scott, what's up, brother? He says hello. Boom and panel, on the topic of price hike on games, doesn't affect us really. We have Game Pass, third-party games already at that price. I still think it's a bad look for Microsoft. I'm going to be honest with you. Again, if it's the lesser of three evils, meaning what do we do? Do we increase the price of games and keep the console and Game Pass set? Then I'm okay with it. Would I like everything to stay the same? Yes. I don't like it, but I understand it from a business practicality. Here's where I'll have a problem, Tom. If they raise the price of games and one or two of the remainder things, Game Pass and consoles, go up, I'm going to definitely have a conniption, and I will give Microsoft the righteous smoke if that happens. I will tell you that.
I will be there for you.
Yeah, and you
absolutely
absolutely.
I will
not.
I'll take the booze.
Yeah, no,
I'll take the booze again. I'll say the unpopular things that need to be said. Yeah, once it still goes through,
it's all about truth, justice, and the American way.
And the American way.
And you're not going to get any BS from Boom.
That's why Elden Ring has to win.
That's why Elden Ring must win. JD Gamer drops an additional 5 and 10 and an additional $5 super chat, another $20. Thank you, JD Gamer. He says the FTC wants Microsoft to walk away, but Microsoft has $2 billion on the line and $3 billion if they wait until June. That buys a lot of lawyering. Ultimately, the FTC will lose outright or allow concessions. That I agree. His other super chat of $10 says story time. Imagine that Microsoft has left the VGAs like PlayStation left E3, but Microsoft responds by taking over the Oscars, Emmys, Grammys, and Super Bowl with bigger audience. Those award shows with VGA segment. I know people are going to disagree with me, but I think Microsoft needs the VGAs and the VGAs needs Microsoft. I really think that. I think they're both two behemoth entities that need each other to coexist, even though sometimes one does something that the other doesn't like. I don't always agree with Jeff Keighley, but I will say this on the record for the 100th time. I think Jeff's importance to the industry as a whole is much more than people give that man credit for. I will say that. I will die on this hill about it. I don't like the way he does things sometimes. I'm going to be honest with you. And I've called him to the carpet on it. I've had conversations on social media with him, and I've gone about it politically correct. But I will say he's still an important aspect to the industry. I will
It's a
say
necessary
that.
Because
evil.
the trophy room awards are better.
Yeah,
They have them better. There's more games we're spotlighting, more devs we're spotlighting.
Joe, let's get
No
to
shit
that in a
watcher,
second.
man.
One more super chat. An interesting note from JD Gamer says here. An interesting note that Keeley didn't get to see any Xbox games because Xbox wouldn't be at the show, and for the first time in forever, no leaks. I mean, listen, they didn't. They just knew that they weren't going to show up, and that's fine. I'm not happy about it. I'm disappointed, but we will get our day in the sun. Joe, sell your brand, brother. Talk about this incredible Trophy Room Awards that is better than Jeff Keighley's billion-dollar run empire, and more importantly, where can people subscribe to your YouTube channel?
These are all important things. You mind if I drop a link in the chat?
Drop as many links as long as it's not porn related. You're good.
Okay, good. I'm just gonna drop one. It's Save Democracy, Vote Elden Ring. Everything's on the line here, folks. Follow me at Mr. Badbit. Follow the
on your
Trophy Room.
awards, by the way, so you know that.
I'm starting to think Badbit switched to the PFPs or something like. It's
like it's actually got a award,
right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's actually got
sneaky Badbit.
Listen. The one thing that I love about the Trophy Room Awards, first off, even if you're not a PlayStation fan, which this is Xbox focused show channel, all that jazz, right? There's something for everyone here. So like we have like most the best non-PlayStation game. We have most anticipated non-PlayStation game. We have Pentiment in there. We have Vampire Survivors, which I'm addicted to in there, of course.
So good. And
to see so many developers celebrating their games with us, championing their games with us. Speaking of Plague Tale, I love Asobo Studio because they get in on it in a big way with us. They're really, really pushing Plague Tale Requiem, which you just love to see. And right now, Plague Tale is whooping some Elden Ring right now. So again, make sure you get in there. You vote for the right choice, which is Elden Ring. Yes. Like, you can vote for anybody you want. That's fine. It's been a fantastic time again, seeing the voice actors, seeing developers celebrate their games, their work with us. That's the reason why we do this. Yeah. So make sure you vote right here, right now. Follow us at PS Trophy Room, where we've been flooding our channel with all the categories, all of our nominees. Again, over 80 plus games, over 30 plus categories. That's more than Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. And we were pretty much restricted to just PlayStation because we're a PlayStation show, which goes to show we're not in it for the SEO or the clicks or any of that. We're just in it to celebrate and highlight games you may not have heard about.
Yeah.
All right. Why we love you, Joe. Best indie, I'm gonna scream and kick, but that's your choice, not mine.
Right.
It should be Cult of the Lamb. It should be. I'm not telling you who to vote
I haven't
for.
bought yet. I'm gonna wait for the end of the year sale. But listen, I want to share something with everyone because this is an Xbox podcast.
Please.
Everyone on this panel is going to appreciate this. I'm going to go full screen for a hot second here.
Oh God.
Okay. This was gifted to me by Jangles 5280. If you didn't see this, it brought me to tears. I can say it live on the air. I literally started to weep over this. I'm going to show it to you. It is madness. Okay. Now let me just bring my camera up. Check out this custom G.I. Joe controller.
Oh, hot damn.
G.I. Joe.
Now, not only is G.I. Joe the reason why I became a police officer, like literally, but you see, it's what he did on the back that's giving me goosebumps. I don't want to get emotional on the air. I close out the show with something I say every show that my father taught us. It made me such an amazing police officer from some simple logic. Look what he did. He put my father's quote.
I put your
treat others how you want to be treated on this thing.
I
mean,
that's beautiful.
It's just. I mean, this is my favorite brand.
Wonderful.
It's my literally. I cannot thank him enough for the incredible work that went into it. But Steel Rain had to get out of here because obviously he had to handle some.
I took too much time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all right. He said he had to go. Listen, if you don't know who Steel Rain is, you're doing it all wrong. He runs a podcast with Pong Soul every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time called Living Split Screen. It is one of my favorite shows to listen to. These are sometimes 3, 4, 5 hour shows, and they are an incredible way to get what he likes to call an RTS view of the industry, meaning that it goes all the way back. And instead of looking through a keyhole, you look at the broad aspect of gaming. They have it's a non-eccentric podcast. They do talk about everybody: PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, handhelds. And it's a show that you should definitely subscribe. And they're almost at 1K, folks. Listen, I say this all the time. You don't know how hard podcasting and content creation is until you do it. And getting to 1K is one of the biggest things anyone that does content creation does, because you get partnered with YouTube. Now, again, it's not the biggest partnership, and you're pretty much making pennies on the dollar, and sometimes less than that. But that hitting that 1K is such a triumph, and I want to see people like Pong Soul, and like Living Split Screen, and like, of course, Everborn Saga and Kay Asante, who run the Gaming Circle podcast. They're close as well. It's so hard to do this content. It takes a tremendous amount of dedication. If you like their content, I beg you to get over there and subscribe to both of them. It's a matter of clicks, folks. Get over there and subscribe to both of their channels. It would be greatly appreciated. Let's get to Infinite Umbra. Umbra, thanks so much for being here, brother. You are a part of the Xbox Infinite podcast, Friday evenings, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You've been having some killer guests. Obviously, that is run by one of the great guys of the community and Risk It for the Biscuits. You have Jedi Pete, you have Doom Cutie, you have a great panel. Talk about it. Where can people and also reach out to you on social media?
Yeah. Just want to say shout out and love to the chat. You all were hilarious. I read a lot of that.
They're funny today.
Yeah, quietly cracking up over here. Shout out to the panel, and boom again to you, brother, for always bringing us and everybody into the community, into the fold like you have. I mean, now with Red Tree also being added today, you just keep doing that, because I think I have grown in my estimation as far as not just a great community member, but as a leader. And
thank you, sir. That's very kind of you to say.
Absolutely, and I mean it. And it's because we get to know and learn people who they are. And one thing I will say about you is that you are who you are. It's not some mirage or some type of gimmick. You are.
This is how I wear uniform, folks. I don't think people believe it. I was the guy that you wanted to be stopped by, because I was taught by my pop that everybody matters. It does not matter race, class, sexual orientation, station, financially. It's about people should be at the center of the conversation. Human beings, yes, we're different. Yes, different sex, different races, different beliefs, but we're all human beings. And I love the fact that you said that. That honestly really gives me goosebumps that I put that out there, because it's important to me not to build a brand. Pardon my friend, I don't give about the brand. What I care about is people.
Yep.
Yes. Is growing the channel, is it important? Yes. But is it the driving point? Absolutely not.
Right. And having known you for the time I've known you, Boom, I believe that 100%. And I mean that. But
thank you, sir.
Absolutely. And of course, you guys can find me on under Umbra Infinite or Infinite Umbra on Twitter. You'll find me either way. Give me a follow. Sometimes join us on our Halo community nights or whatever else we might play. And of course, like Boom pointed out, on the Xbox Infinite podcast, I believe it's 7 Eastern now.
Oh, is it? Okay, 7 p.m.
Time shift.
I don't know why I thought it was 8 p.m. for some reason.
It was originally, but
the
time went back. Yep. So now it's 7 Eastern. But you all come through and check us out. I think we'll have Drawn TJ and
that's a good one here. Drawn TJ is excellent.
Absolutely, good brother, and J Rock. I'm sure everybody
knows. Spicy.
Yeah.
It's going to be spicy because J-Rock does not, let's say he doesn't have any hair in his tongue, so to speak.
Right. J-Rock is something else. And, so we'll have them on this week. And, guys, come by and support us, man, and appreciate you guys. And, of course, when you see my spaces come through, I run them civilized. There's no anger. There's no screaming and yelling. And
it was refreshing, man. I listened to that. That was so refreshing. You guys were yelling at each other, over each other. It was nice.
Yeah, I try to always run it that way.
There's nothing wrong with great conversation, and no one has to talk over each other for that to happen. I love that.
Exactly.
And again, congratulations on having nearly, would you say, almost 600 people roll through. That's pretty impressive. And of course, Paris Lily, friend of this community, to be there along with so many others. That's a big deal. Joe, you want to say something real quick, Joe?
Oh no, I was just tipping my hat.
Okay, very good, very good.
Appreciate the tip of the head, sir.
Thank you, brother. And of course, you're a big part of this show, Infinite Umbra, and it's great to have you each and every week. But we have to talk about someone that just joined the fray. He's going to be here for you each and every week. He runs Game Pass _daily. Retry, thank you so much for being here. Talk about your YouTube channel and where they can subscribe to that, but more importantly, reach out to you and check out all of the incredible Game Pass daily information that you drop on a daily basis.
Yeah. So I make videos every single day, weekday. Don't call me a liar. Weekday, Monday through Friday, basically promoting everything and anything that is Game Pass, trailers, late breaking news, all kinds of stuff, guys. So you can find me at Game Pass _daily. That is Twitter, and that will show you the other links to my YouTube and TikTok. We are everywhere, so you guys can find us there. I want to give a shout out real quick to Massel 1977 in your community. We played some.
Always throws me off. I'm sorry.
I know. I tried it. I'm like, is that a swear? Whatever. So we played some Halo together. We had a great time. Want to try to start doing some more community gaming with everybody in chat and whatnot. So sometimes there tends to be a little drinking during our games, but alcohol consumption is not mandatory. We don't care how good you are. We're just there to laugh and have a good time. So I'm going to start building that ASAP so we can all game together and just have a good old time.
Well, it's great to have you a part of the show, brother. Glad that you're building your brand. Anything that we can do here at Double Barrel Gaming to help that grow is exactly why we have you here. Real quick, Thursday for the new episode of the Xbox. Why am I drawing a blank on my own shows? The X Vlog Live episode. That's usually my one-on-one show. I'm going to be sitting down with Miles Dompierre, folks. He just confirmed that's why I was distracted. Live on. So we're going to sit down with Miles and talk about his move. That he's still with Windows Central Gaming, but his chatter days are now his own. He has ownership of Chatter Days, Xbox Chatter Days, which I was on a couple of weeks ago. And we want to help him build that brand because obviously he had to move it to his own YouTube channel, and he lost the 25,000 subscribers that he had over on Windows Central because he's building it from the ground up. So we're going to try and help him do that. And you can do that by stopping by Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And obviously I'll be putting out some more information, but don't forget, folks, this Friday is the one I've been talking about for half a year. Mrs. Boomstick and I are giving away $1,000 in 2 hours. 10 $100 gift cards, and in some cases, if you are someone that needs the money, Mrs. Boomstick and I, for the first time ever, will be giving that in cash. If you have PayPal, which is the only way we're going to do it, we will pay for the transfer fee. We will pay for the denominational fee if you're in another country, and that is all on our dime. If you are a winner, you win the $100. And if you want the gift card to your platform of choice, we will deliver that as well. 10 winners, 2 hours, $1,000. The biggest giveaway we have ever done on our 5th annual Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this Friday. And just again, I like to put this out there. This is not corporate sponsored. This is our own monies that we take from Super Chat and channel membership. We tuck it away after Google takes their 30%, and we sit on it so we can do these big giveaways, because I'm a retired dude, and I can't spend my money on giving stuff away because sometimes I can't even buy games for myself. And again, it's not a slight on my pension. My pension is quite good. But sometimes,
there's a lot of games.
It's, you have to make decisions. So we do take this money that we do get, and we do put it away for these big giveaways. And when this big giveaway is done, we will have given away, folks, $3,500 in gift cards and prizes this year alone. The biggest amount we've ever given away. And again,
I've won twice, by the way. So you got a chance.
It's real. There you go. Absolutely. But listen, gentlemen, ladies, gamers around the world, thank you so much. We had almost 600 people here today. That is incredible. The channel viewership is growing. We're starting to average 580 per show. 580 live viewers per show is crazy.
Hit that like button, guys.
Yes,
you're still here. Hit it.
Yes, that's thanks to you. But listen, I'm going to close out the show, folks, with something that is important to me. Hopefully one day will be important to you. And that's something that my father taught us when we were kids. Like it said on that controller, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, Craig. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.